Oh no. No, no, no. I knew I wouldn't be the last one. Did they also tell you the tales about the Keeper's spirit? They've lured you into a trap, you know. And you fell for it. Because you're arrogant. Just as I am. As I was. Of course not. At least not according to your definition of the word. But then again, what is reality anyway? If I told you that you and your friend Sirius actually lie dead at the bottom of the sea, and that everything that has happened so far, your journey to Ark, the search at the Sun Coast, was only a dream, would you be able to recognize the truth? The answer is no. Because you don't want to be dead. Therefore, your mind will do anything to make you believe this entire dream you've had was and is reality. Doesn't it? Tell me, what is time to the dead and dreaming anyway? The last second before the water floods into your lungs. The very last instant before it tears them apart in your mind. It could be an eternity. A self-created sanctuary built from nothing but your wishes. But what's the point in talking anyway? You don't want to believe me. And I'm tired of trying to make you. Now leave me alone, before we make the suppressor even angrier. He doesn't like words. He likes the silence. What? They haven't told you about him? Oh, that's so typical. The suppressor. He's the reason why we will be imprisoned here forever. And why we can't access our feelings and wishes. And he does it because he wants us to lose hope. To stop believing. And... you know, sometimes I wonder if that's exactly what we humans... what I have to do to finally be free. Give up. Detach myself from the dreams of the past. Who knows if there were anything else than phantasms to begin with. But no. No, not yet. It's too early to surrender. And isn't that what makes us human anyway? To hope? And to just keep on waiting for that one miracle that will end the pain once and for all? Yeah, I'll wait. And you will wait with me forever. What the? How did you do that? You simply opened it? But that's impossible. All these years it's kept me from escaping, and you just... Come on. We have to look. We have to look and see what's outside. We won't get far, but still we have to see. Come. Lead the way. By the gods! These are the scourges of the suppressor! They want to punish us! This is so wrong. At the same time, I know we can't escape, but to just have a glimpse outside. The suppressor. This and right. At the same time, I know we can't escape, but to just have a glimpse outside. The suppressor will understand. So cold. Maybe it wasn't such a good idea to go out. After all, I mean, yeah. Yes, the cell is small, but at least it's safe. This is so wrong and right. At the same time, I know we can't escape, but to just have a glimpse outside. The suppressor will understand. What the? Haven't we been here before? By the gods, everything here looks so similar. It's a damn maze. Oh, really? We should never have left. This will be our doom. No. Do you see it? All the cells, they're all empty. And there's blood. Oh no. There were people in there just like us. They didn't know their place either, and now they're dead. They've simply dissolved because they dared to disobey the suppressor. By the gods, this is what will happen to us too. I knew it was a mistake to leave in the first place. I just knew it. This is so wrong and right at the same time. I know we can't escape, but to just have a glimpse outside. The suppressor will understand. Oh no, no! Can't you see? We're back. What? Leave me alone! The suppressor's punishment. It will be horrible. No, you haven't. Because you're blind. The suppressor is here, in every single stone, in every bone, in every drop of blood, and yet you are too blind to see it. But I should have known. I mean, what can you expect from someone who has killed his entire family? I followed you because for a brief moment, you made me want to believe, and now you've dragged me into the abyss along with you. Of course I'm a part of you, and you are a part of me. Isn't that obvious? But I should have known you wouldn't understand. You're too weak. You always were. No, you haven't. But I should have known. No, there isn't. Just look at us. Look at what we are. We are the damned because we are trapped too deeply in the past. And that's why we do not deserve freedom. The suppressor's punishment. It will be horrible. So you figured it out? Yes. I am what keeps you in this place. But was it blind rage that made you act, or Have you truly understood who I am? Have you understood what drives you and determines your actions? The salt corrodes your skin, and the water in your lungs is cold. But you still haven't found it, child, have you?
Oh, hey. Good to see you awake. How are you feeling? Good question. The room was empty when I came here. Actually, that's quite weird now that you mention it. The entire temple seemed kind of deserted. Probably a ceremony or something like that. Now, tell me, how are you holding up? I heard this trial's quite the feat. Apparently some of the novices never wake up again. In the temple, the curarium to be precise. You were brought here when you were traveling with that Ixon guy. I think the others are already awake, but I didn't want to leave you here, so I thought I'd just stay. I mean, hey, you are a keeper of the first sigil now, aren't you? I believe congratulations are in order. Everyone knows about Ixon, and the fact that you're asking this shows how little you actually understood. You're pathetic, you know that? Simply pathetic.
I said you are pathetic. At first, we believed it would be more exciting this time. But now that we've seen the new prophet, our hopes are gone. You're a joke.
A nobody who let his only friend kick the bucket.
As if you'd ever accept that. You humans are always so damn persistent, aren't you? Why? Why can't you just let go?
Because in the end, you are powerless, just as all those before you. And you, prophetess, you are the biggest joke of all.
You are nothing but an urchin.
A weakling.
And a murderer.
And that is why you will burn. All of you. The cleansing will happen, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. What have you done to us? You are so naive. The world is an interplay of cause and effect, and the only logical consequence of your existence is annihilation. That's the way it was, and that's the way it's going to be. But enough of the banter, urchin. We wanted to meet you, and so we did, even though the result is rather sobering. Now wake up. Keep on stumbling through the mist.
Thank Malphus. I was starting to think I was the only one. How are you? You look exhausted. You did. That's probably one of the after effects of the potion, but it will pass, I'm sure of it. But it's good to see the Grandmaster was right after all. I woke up just a few hours earlier, and he was here in the meantime. He didn't doubt for a single second that you would make it. But I suppose mutual congratulations are in order. We made it. We passed the trial. Almost, yes. All that is left to do is to take the oath, and then Grandmaster Aranthiel will exalt us to the keepers of the first sigil. Speaking of whom, he also told me some things while you were asleep. About the Pyreans, about these dreams, and of course, about this cycle. This is so bizarre, really. At first we're told out of nowhere that the gods have died, and now humanity is on the brink of extinction. This is a lot to take in. Hard to say. I never had those dreams the Grandmaster talked about, even though I'm magically gifted. But then again, I always had the feeling that the Red Madness was more than an ordinary disease. Well, I suppose all of this explains a lot. At least now I can understand why the Grandmaster was willing to break all the traditions of the Order just to get you exalted to be a keeper. According to him, most of our battle against the cycle will stand or fall with you. Yes, I believe that. It's a great responsibility you've been given, and as impressive as your skills are, I would not want to change places with you. Well, as I said, we both have to take the Holy Oath. You should talk to the Grandmaster as soon as you're ready. He's waiting for you in the Emporium. Right. Dunwar. The apothecary examined him about an hour ago, and it doesn't look good. It's likely that he'll never wake up again. He was impulsive, yes. But to some extent, I can understand why he was the way he was. You know, Dunwar was one of those people who tried to gild their insecurity with boastful behavior. The reality is that he was the last of his bloodline, and his faith in the path and his destiny as a keeper were all that he had left. And who knows, maybe he would have been a great help to the Order with the right guidance. But I guess Master Bartar's revelation was just too much for him. It's hard to be told that everything you've lived for was a lie. Yes, all of the Dalmordans fell victim to the great flesh maggot plague of 8215. Actually, it was almost sad to see him running around and boasting about his nobility, though everyone knew that without the help of the Order, he would have probably ended up living in a shack in the Undercity, if you can call that living. Well, maybe I just don't show it as much. But yes, in a way, you're probably right. I suppose that's mainly due to the fact that to me, as opposed to Dunwar, the Order always stood for an idea. And an idea doesn't die with the one who first thought of it. Funny that the Grandmaster said nearly the same thing during the exaltation. Dunwar would have considered it blasphemy. That's true. A lot of crimes were committed during the Lightborn's reign, and I don't want to minimize that. But I also think a lot of those crimes were unavoidable, so to speak. Imagine you're the king of a small island, and one day your realm gets attacked by a fleet of Scarab Reavers. The invasion catches you completely off guard, and within a few hours, the Reavers have advanced to the farmland, just a few feet from your city's main gates. And before you know it, you have to make a decision. Will you use the time that remains to entrench your army within the city's walls to have a better chance of surviving a siege? Or do you send them into the field to fight the Reavers there, knowing that there is only a slight chance to save the farmers, but a big risk that you will lose both the city and the farmers? That's one way to see it, yes. But what if your foray would have succeeded? What if you could have prevented the massacre in the farmlands? What I'm trying to say is, it doesn't matter what you do. There will be people who will despise you for your decision. If your attempt to rescue the farmers fails, you will be accused of having acted blindly and idealistically. And if you just stay in the city, they will say you didn't even try. Of course, there's a small chance the foray might work, but should decisions like that really be made as if they were a game of dice? As I said, I don't mean to absolve the Lightborn of their crimes, but I'd wager my left hand that they had a lot of similar decisions to make. I knew the question would come eventually. I suppose the answer depends on whether you're in the mood for some gloomy talk. Sooner or later you'll hear it from someone else anyway, so why not from me first? As you wish. Where should I start? Maybe with the fact that I don't remember anything that happened before my 6th winter. I don't know where I was born, and I never got to know my parents. I wish I knew. What I do know, though, is that the first memory I have is of waking up in the middle of some village. It was dark, and I felt dizzy and, I don't know, empty? That's probably the best way to describe it. I eventually found the strength to get up and look around, and, well, that's when I realized what was actually going on around me. The entire village. It had been destroyed. There were corpses everywhere. Men, women, children, and the houses had been crushed as if some mad god had rampaged through the streets there. And it had all just happened hours before because the destruction was still fresh. Whatever it was, I didn't have much time to think about it. As soon as I got up, I saw 3 riders coming through the smoke. One of them got off his horse, ran towards one of the corpses, and started screaming something in my direction. Then I felt a blow on the back of my head, and I lost consciousness. By the name of the sun, it's strange to talk about it like this. It's been so long, but the memory feels as if it had happened yesterday. Well, it turned out the riders were hunters who had come from that village. They must have observed the whatever it was from the distance and ridden back to the village. At least I think that's how it went. I guess I'll never find out. The reason they thought I was somehow involved is that the village priest found me a couple of days before it happened near a shrine in the wilderness. Apparently, I was wearing torn clothing, and no matter what the apothecary tried, he couldn't wake me up from my comatose sleep. And it seems that made the riders think I was some kind of witch child, or unholy beast, whichever you prefer. For you, maybe. For them, as simple people, it was probably the best explanation they had. And think about it, it's not that far off. A motherless child who neither talks nor breathes steadily is found abandoned on the roadside and has a strange mark on her face. They leave to go hunting, and when they come back, they find their village in ruins with that foundling child being the only survivor. You have to admit, it's not that much of a stretch, even if those men hadn't been superstitious farmers. Probably. Truth be told, I try not to think about it too much. And actually, it doesn't matter, because I somehow managed to get away before they could do anything. I even made it to Ark all by myself, which didn't turn out to be much of an improvement in the end because I was pathless. Yes. Thinking about it now, I actually wonder how I made it through my time down there. But maybe that's one of the advantages of being a child. You don't think. You just act. Still, the winters down there were cruel, and if Master Tyrus hadn't found and taken care of me, I probably wouldn't have made it through my 2nd year. Yes, otherwise I would not be here. He saw me, and he knew what he had to do, is how he put it. Of course, the Order wasn't too happy about a pathless child in the Scuola, just as some aren't happy about you being here. But Tyrus was a highly regarded man, and that's why they let it slide. That's right, we do, but we are both still pathless, and that disqualifies us according to the holy verses. I guess now you understand why I was never as connected to Malphas's teaching as Dunmore was. To some of the Keepers, I am still an outcast, and no matter what I do, I always will be. Yes, and now I'm here. Well, here we've reached the end of my impressive tale. I hope you liked it. No, I guess I'm not. Gone. He was very old, and there was nothing anyone could do about it. But I'd prefer not to talk about it, if you don't mind. He does, yes, and he's not alone in his opinion. One of those hunters recognized me in the market my first year as a novice, and you can imagine that it was easy pickings for those who were already against my presence in the Order. From then on, they added names to the derogatory stares. Demon Child, Witch, whatever they could come up with. Maybe, but everything I'm capable of is the fruit of hard work, though they will never acknowledge that. You know what's funny? To some extent, I'm glad to be who I am. That way, people just leave me alone, and that gives me more time to focus on what's important, on my goals. Several, but I'd say that's enough of the gloomy stories, don't you think? There will be plenty of time for chatter in the future. Maybe. You should. It's already late, but if you want, I can show you the most important places in the temple before you go to the Emporium. What do you think? As you wish. The apothecary put your gear in the chest by your bed. Now walk blessed. I will see you soon.